Aaron's voice booms with a mix of exasperation and authority, demanding to know why they wouldn't want to comply. His expression contorted in a fierce scowl as he makes it clear that they are not asking for permission. He then turns his attention to Kanna, who looks up at him with wide, innocent eyes, as he explains that the situation is far more serious than she might realize, emphasizing that the current state of affairs is beyond anything they've encountered before. Meanwhile, Kale leans back, a smirk playing on his lips as he observes the scene, remarking that it seems like everyone is having a good time. Aaron, however, finds the unfolding events far from amusing, his expression still etched with intense concern. Henna, clearly exasperated, questions Kale about his casual attitude, reminding him that someone could get hurt, while he simply asks if she's worried about him. Henna's warning still echoing, the focus shifts to a desolate interior, a plain and vacant home, yet the sheer lack of any lingering terror within its walls feels deeply suspicious. Aaron considers the implications, his gaze distant as he processes the strange atmosphere. He mutters, "It's clear that something happened here, but why is there no trace of it?" Henna, listening intently, leans in to share a hushed detail. Aaron turns to her, his expression serious, as she reveals, someone is committing adultery. Her eyes widen slightly, emphasizing the gravity of the accusation. She continues, her voice firm, "I'm positive adultery is considered a felony, right?" Aaron ponders this new information, a thoughtful escaping him, before adding, "Since it's important, I should look into it." His resolve solidifies, ready to investigate the matter further. He enters a quiet, book-lined room, a single candle casting long shadows, as an unseen voice suggests everyone should rest well. The air is thick with the scent of old paper, countless volumes stacked haphazardly on every surface. He scans the titles, a thought forming in his mind about the previous occupant's extensive knowledge, wondering if this person was truly well-read. Not bad, he muses, appreciating the selection, but the true mystery lies in finding the specific information he needs for his investigation. His fingers brush against something unexpected, tucked away between the pages of one of the books. He hasn't found the right book yet, the one holding the crucial details for his investigation. A soft rustle echoes through the quiet room. He turns, his gaze sweeping over a towering bookshelf, the sheer volume of knowledge daunting. Then, a sudden realization hits him, a name surfacing in his thoughts. This brother? He isn't trying to do anything but find the truth, and he feels he's close, believing this brother is the key. Suddenly, a voice cuts through his thoughts, asking what's wrong with it. Poole, with a casual smile, tells him to feel free to keep it if he likes. Aaron, with a relieved expression, thanks him, declaring his innocence. Poole looks back, confused, wondering who just declared innocence like they're doing goodwill. As they walk, Poole muses that patrolling is always fun, wondering what souvenir he'll get this time. Brigg then calls out to his captain. Aaron, without turning, states he's going to the inn, confirming it with a simple all right. A smirk plays on his lips, as he thinks he may look like he's not doing his job properly. He considers that he should thoroughly search everywhere as he goes, a quiet determination settling over him. Looking down, he murmurs, "This place is." A soft rustle of fabric accompanies his contemplation, before the scene shifts to a humble bed of straw, and a shimmering, pink light fills the air, revealing a serene white horse amidst blooming flowers. A small voice breaks the silence, asking, "Whisper?" Aaron turns to the young girl, Kanna, his expression grim as he states, "I came too late, right?" She confirms his fears, adding, "We saw her today. She was taken away." A wave of frustration washes over him, a guttural sound escaping his lips. He looks down, a quiet resolve settling over him, knowing that everyone deserves a good rest after the day's events. Suddenly, a small voice breaks his thoughts, as Kanna, looking startled, apologizes for having overheard his words. She expresses her sorrow, lamenting how quickly things can change, and offers another heartfelt apology. As the sun begins to set, casting a warm glow, the question hangs in the air, should they turn back? After a moment of contemplation, the answer is clear. Later, Kale approaches him, offering his own apology, but Aaron reassures him that it's all right. He looks down once more, a soft huh, escaping him, before offering a quiet thanks. A surge of purple energy seems to affirm the decision, a resounding yeah, echoing through the air. And Kanna, her face now bright with a smile, reflects the renewed hope. He stares into his mug, a peculiar expression crossing his face. A soft groan escapes him, as if the sight itself is an affront. The mug contains beer, yes, but also flower-shaped ice cubes, prompting him to wonder aloud. What use is pretty ice for cold beer? Kanna, standing before him with a tray, confirms her handiwork, a small smile playing on her lips. Aaron sighs, accepting the drink, though he can't help but question if it's a bit much for a young woman to be serving. He still can't quite wrap his head around the decorative ice, muttering about its impracticality. Kanna, however, beams with pure delight, her cheeks flushed with pride. Seeing her reaction, Aaron resigns himself to his fate, deciding he'll simply have to drink it. Suddenly, a flicker of surprise crosses his features, as if something unexpected has caught his attention. Aaron sits, observing Kanna as she eagerly presents something to him. Holding out a small, intricately crafted object, she asks with bright eyes if he likes it. As he takes the item, Aaron thinks to himself that this girl certainly has some peculiar tastes, even if he was the one who asked for it. Kanna, oblivious to his inner thoughts, giggles happily. The small, glowing object in his hands is a delicate, flower-shaped bracelet, its intricate design shimmering with a soft light. Watching her reaction, Aaron wonders if it's actually a child's bracelet, but her joy is undeniable. His thoughts drift to the whitish guy he'd encountered earlier, considering that perhaps he wasn't such a bad person after all. He decides he should get him some fish bread in return, a small gesture of appreciation. Suddenly, a man with intense, glowing red eyes and a scar across his face appears, his gaze sharp and unsettling. Aaron finds himself reflecting on the capital, a place he feels is unimaginably far away from the frontier, wondering if he's getting too comfortable. He considers the fortress, which is supposedly filled with barbarians, and the whitish guy he'd wanted to give fish bread to, now realizing he's lost his chance. Meanwhile, Pool's expression tightens, a flicker of concern crossing his face. As the thought of the capital, unimaginably far away, weighs heavily on the minds of others. Hans, his right eye glowing with an ominous red light, speaks with venom, declaring that the man is the very embodiment of ignorance. Carter reacts with a shocked gasp, repeating Hans's words in disbelief. That insolent guard captain. Struggling to comprehend the audacity of Hans's actions, especially his decision to enter his home, and concluding that the dark mage is now even more dangerous than before. Pool, his brow furrowed in deep thought, seems to concur with the grim assessment. Pool's eyes widen in recognition, a chilling realization dawning on him. That guy, he's the one who took that woman's life, he mutters, his voice laced with a desperate urgency. That's why I've been looking for him this whole time. Meanwhile, Aaron stands with his back to the observer, a powerful, crimson aura erupting around him. The raw energy swirling and intensifying around his form. The aura expands rapidly, pushing outwards with immense force, culminating in a concentrated burst of crimson light. He holds out a hand, the glowing energy coalescing around it. His eye flaring a vivid, blood red, veins visibly throbbing around it. Pool stares in utter disbelief, his mind reeling. He intercepted the magic, he exclaims, unable to comprehend the sight before him. He's not even a mage who can control aura. His voice trails off in a whisper, the impossible truth hanging in the air. But a mere guard. How did he intercept the magic? A wave of disbelief washes over Pool, his mind reeling from the impossible display of power he just witnessed, as he questions the true identity of the mysterious guard. Yet, for Aaron, his purpose remains clear, a singular mission that always guides him, a mission tied to a smiling woman, bathed in an ethereal glow, who is loved by Manhwa. As the guards observe a distant, unsettling scene, a voice calls out to their captain. Kale, looking concerned, questions the strange behavior of the Funner family soldiers. From a distance, Brig echoes the sentiment, asking why they are keeping such a significant distance from them. Aaron lets out a soft TSK, his expression hardening as he processes the implications. Kale attempts to offer a benign explanation, suggesting they might have simply been startled by a guard while foraging. But Aaron dismisses the idea with a look of disbelief, knowing the Funner family soldiers wouldn't react so timidly. His gaze sweeps across the vast, rugged landscape, landing on a small, ominous red object in the far distance. A sudden realization dawns on him, his hand clenching in understanding. His eyes narrow with grim determination as he finally comprehends the true reason for the soldiers' retreat. He watches a noble's carriage pass, its height so imposing it feels as though he could run right underneath it. He wonders if this is the eldest son everyone has been talking about. As a voice instructs Brig to lower his head, reminding him that a noble is passing by. His gaze remains sharp, observing the opulent vehicle. While Brig dutifully bows his head in deference, a subtle glint catches the light from a brooch on his chest. As the carriage speeds away, leaving them behind. Turning to his companion, he dismisses the encounter, stating that all nobles are the same, merely fleeting dogs, but Brig corrects him, noting that the eldest nobles hold no true power. He watches with a stern expression, his gaze fixed on something unseen. A carriage, drawn by 2 horses, rumbles past, prompting a question about its purpose. What's that this time? The ornate vehicle is escorted by several guards, moving through the city streets. When Aaron steps forward, directly addressing one of the carriage's occupants, demanding to know their origin, "Where are you from?" The young man, startled, blushes slightly as he responds, I came from Karzan." Introducing himself as Kyone, the 3rd eldest noble of Karzan, his gloved hand gesturing politely. "My name is Kyone, the 3rd eldest noble of Karzan." Brig then confirms the carriage's origin, while Aaron internally resolves to avoid these eldest nobles. So that was a carriage from Karzan. I have to avoid the eldest nobles. Brig, ever the dutiful subordinate, asks his captain to look after the young noble, a request that Aaron finds vaguely irritating. "Please go look after her, Captess." Somehow I'm getting city guy vibes from him. As Kyone stands beside his carriage, accompanied by a hooded attendant, preparing to depart. Aaron and Brig stand by the roadside, watching a grand red carriage pass by. Aaron remarks that there seems to be a large number of carriages moving today, still feeling uncomfortable around so many people, before urging Brig to look. He warns Brig to watch his mouth, reminding him that he'll be going to the gallows if he keeps spewing nonsense. And on the dusty road, its door opens, a figure stepping out. A man with neatly swept-back gray hair and piercing light eyes emerges, a silver cross necklace gleaming against his dark robes. He questions if this is the honorary conventional anchor. Then, with a slight smile, offers a polite greeting, wishing them that the sun shine upon them. As the church carriage lingered, Brig's thoughts raced, identifying the vehicle and concluding that the person inside must be the abbot. Aaron, ever vigilant, subtly adjusted Brig's posture, a quiet correction amidst their observations. He instructed him to raise his right elbow higher, refining his guard's bearing. Aaron then mused that the individual they had just encountered seemed as formidable as the report suggested. With the immediate interaction concluded, he suggested they continue their conversation at a later time. With a soft thud, the carriage door closed, and the vehicle began to move away. Brig confirmed the carriage belonged to the Funner family, observing that they seemed to be getting busy, a sentiment Aaron echoed. As the carriage disappeared into the distance, the two guards remained, watching its departure with thoughtful expressions. A sharp click of the tongue escapes the orange-haired woman, her expression unreadable. He yawns, stretching slightly as he greets her. "HM? Long time no see, red hair. What are you doing out of the orchard?" His casual demeanor shifts, however, as he processes her words, his eyes narrowing slightly as he demands, "What did you just say?" The woman, unfazed, simply replies, "That. You're kidding, right? Bring it out." With a grunt of effort, a heavy sack, glowing with a faint blue aura, is hoisted into view, its contents shifting ominously. The sack's opening reveals a gruesome sight, a mangled, bloody piece of flesh. Aaron recoils in shock, a faint blue energy crackling around his hand as he exclaims, "That Karzan family, and the other two guys' heads." His face contorts in disgust, barely managing to stammer, "Be Bleg. Why yes, the bounty rewards, Bleg." The orange-haired woman, observing his reaction, remarks dryly, "Looks like you have no manners for talking while eating." The towering walls of Kasinic Fortress stand resolute under a clear sky, its formidable architecture a testament to its strength. Within its bustling streets, a laborer unloads a cart, expressing gratitude to another, who simply replies, "You can leave it here." "Thank you, sir. I hope that I can work with you again." Meanwhile, Aaron reflects on a recent capture, finding some relief that the individual is finally apprehended. It's a relief that at least this guy was caught. The captured man was so infamous, he was known as the Wolf Ghost, and the organization he belonged to was equally notorious back in Karzan. Aaron ponders the implications of such a powerful organization, then recalls that this Wolf Ghost was specifically looking for Kanna, wondering if another fever might strike later. Later, in a more relaxed setting, Brig listens intently as Aaron, now in different attire, asks, "Where's the best restaurant here in Kasinic Fortress?" Brig beams, expressing his immense happiness to be working alongside the captain. He then shifts the topic, asking about Aaron's favorite restaurants, but quickly wonders aloud if the captain isn't too busy for such outings right now. Aaron lets out a small chuckle, a hint of amusement in his expression. Brig continues, suggesting the most popular spot in District 3, and casually invites Aaron to go together, noting its proximity. As a grand building stands in the distance, Brig's earlier question echoes, still wondering if the captain truly has time. However, the immediate concern shifts to a more pressing matter, the need to uncover more about the mysterious organization connected to Kanna. Later, Aaron stands with Kyone and Kale, all three intently observing something just out of sight. He smiles, presenting a dish, proudly declaring, "This is our signature cheesecake." He muses that even his wife, who hails from the capital, considered it the best in Kasirti Fortress, and this cake alone makes him think of all the things gathered there. While Kale, seated opposite, urges him to simply eat, dismissing his overthinking. Kyone, already enjoying the meal, agrees, finding the rumors about the fortress to be better than he'd imagined, making him super worried on his way here. As the three of them look on intently, Aaron reflects that because of a recent incident, Karzan is in chaos, and the movements of certain groups have become unusually active, making him suspicious. He considers the Lone Wolf as one of the three major organizations in Karzan City, visualizing its symbol alongside two others. Beyond that, there's also the Sword of Karzan, an old organization with a long history, and the Cute Rabbit, which consists of only a few members. He concludes that countless other groups also exist and thrive alongside these. He continues, explaining that the leader of the Lone Wolf organization is a man named Philip. A chilling silhouette of the man appears, his eyes glowing ominously, as Aaron describes him as a guy named Philip. He was likely a bastard son of some noble family, and according to rumors, he was favored by even the eldest son. Aaron's expression turns grim as he continues, the scariest thing about Philip being his possessiveness. He recounts a time when members from the Frosty Dagger Guild discovered Philip and his men in a tavern, and as a joke, they took something that belonged to him. It was an insignificant matter that anyone could have overlooked, but Philip didn't. He took something that belonged to them. The scene shifts to a dark, snowy night, cloaked figures standing ominously. And in the end, Philip managed to take back the sword. Aaron concludes, his gaze distant. Just like the rumors say, Philip is truly a wolf-like bastard. He considers the nature of individuals like Philip, those who cling to their possessions with a tenacity that only ends when they are utterly destroyed. Meanwhile, Kyone's eyes glow with an intense red light as she ponders if it's even possible for Philip to possess something that isn't already his. She concludes that he wouldn't care if he had to die, or if his teeth were ripped out, just to get back what he believes is his. Aaron, deep in thought, realizes that no matter how much he considers the situation, he'll need to visit Philip personally. Meanwhile, Philip, with a fierce glint in his eye, contemplates a 3-day city business trip. Now that things have ended up like this, a woman with orange hair stands beside Kale and Brig as Aaron's voice rings out. You are now going to report directly to me. He looks at the young noble, a question hanging in the air about the sudden shift in plans. Kyone responds, explaining that she was prepared to handle the situation herself, but the captain's presence has altered her approach. Her gaze is firm, betraying a deep-seated resolve. Aaron simply instructs her to proceed with her duties, prompting her to question if he has secured the necessary permissions from the guard commander for his own actions. Without a word, he turns his back and begins to walk away, his decision made. Kyone, still looking after him, presses further, asking if he truly intends to take Aaron with him. He continues to move, explaining that the inner fortress guards were already planning to accompany him, implying his choice is not arbitrary. Kyone, however, counters that in such a scenario, it would be more effective to prioritize the outer fortress over the inner, suggesting a strategic alternative. Her expression remains earnest as she justifies her reasoning, insisting that for many reasons, it's simply more efficient to take Aaron. As the moment of departure nears, one of the guards, Brig, approaches, expressing surprise that Kyone is joining them. Kyone, standing before Aaron, simply states, that's why he's called Scoundrel Errant. A slight smile plays on her lips. As she continues, acknowledging his effectiveness, thanks to you, the problem was solved well this time again. And this guard leader position is a matter of time. She gazes at a desk, contemplating the possibilities. No, maybe an even higher position. But Aaron's voice cuts through her thoughts, a hint of self-deprecation in his tone. I didn't need any of those. My current position is enough for me. He offers a wry smile. For a scoundrel like me. His conviction clear, that guard captain is perfect. Kyone, observing his resolve, finds a new idea sparking in her mind. A thought came to be right then. She considers the implications, knowing that if she were to forcibly elevate Aaron, he would simply drift away to somewhere else. Meanwhile, Aaron himself muses that there's no need to scrutinize his own actions too closely. Kyone, however, can't shake the thought. Can the scoundrel Aaron truly remain content in a place like Caserte's frontiers? With their preparations complete, a voice calls out, signaling their departure. Aaron takes the reins of a 2-horse carriage, with Kyone settled comfortably inside as they begin their journey. Their destination is clear, Karzan. Inside the carriage, Kyone turns to a red-haired companion, inquiring if they dressed up for the city. The red-haired figure confirms it, prompting Kyone to playfully tell them to be quiet. The light-haired child, with a wide, innocent smile, exclaims, oranges. The orange-haired child, holding a delicious-looking cake, offers, I bought a delicious cake yesterday. Would you like to try some? The light-haired child eagerly reaches out a hand, but then pulls back, stating, you see, I'm a little busy right now. If you need someone to play with, go so with the guy next to you. A small, mischievous giggle escapes the child. The orange-haired child turns to Aaron, asking, did I do something wrong? I called her by her nickname because she said she wanted to be called it. Aaron gently explains, oranges are all the same. You can't tell if you're wrong. It's not just orange, it's orange. The orange-haired child, now understanding, asks, is that so? Before turning back to the light-haired child. Miss Orange, please try some cake. As a truck rumbles away, a voice calls out, wondering if Miss Orange is present, or if Miss Nuit is working outside. The scene shifts to the sprawling expanse of Karzan City. Its streets teem with life, a vibrant tapestry of daily activity unfolding beneath the towering buildings. A sense of slight apprehension hangs in the air, as if something unexpected might soon occur. Aaron explains that he'll be occupied at the office and unable to provide an escort, suggesting a city tour in the meantime. He instructs her to simply meet him in front of the tavern by late afternoon. The orange-haired child, looking determined, is warned to be careful not to cause trouble, especially when venturing through unfamiliar doors. Aaron, with a knowing look, reassures her that his method of opening doors won't change just because they're in the city. He watches the bustling crowd, remarking on the astonishing number of people in Caserte, as the child beside him looks up, and Miss Nuit, from above, acknowledges his presence. However, she quickly grows impatient, chiding him for not responding and warning him against troubling others. Aaron, lost in thought, can only wonder if this strange feeling is just his imagination. Later, he turns to the child, Shioba, asking his young friend for a few more of the treats she holds. Meanwhile, Kyone, ever the enthusiast, eagerly offers to introduce someone to the finest restaurant in Karzan. He describes a place known as the one that is choked to death, detailing its unique dishes with relish. Aaron, however, with a knowing smile, politely declines, stating he will visit restaurants another time. Tonight, something else entirely awaits. Aaron offers a warm, if slightly mischievous, smile, suggesting everyone should rest well. However, his words are quickly followed by a more ominous declaration, as he states, "I will go and kill the leader of the lone wolf." This unexpected pronouncement leaves Kyone utterly bewildered, his eyes wide with confusion. A gasp escapes him, the shock evident on his face. As the weight of Aaron's words settles, Kyone's disbelief deepens. He internally scoffs, thinking, he must be joking again. Do you think I'll be fooled a second time after the orange? Turning to Aaron with a forced smile, Kyone voices his frustration. You must think of me and my level maintaining as a joke. Aaron, however, remains unfazed, simply replying, so be it as you wish. I didn't have any intention of arguing with you in the first place, so do whatever you want. Our conversation seems to be going in a weird place. Suddenly, Aaron grabs Kyone by the collar, his expression hardening as he demands, acting so carefree when you've taken Aaron's beloved title, the vertex of Caserte's guards, and unfoiled his secret plan to remain hidden. As he sets his new course, Aaron declares their next destination, the White Rabbit Guild. Walking alongside him, Kyone questions if this is their first time visiting such a place, to which Aaron simply replies, very well. Internally, Kyone wonders if Aaron is truly committed to this joke, determined to see just how far he intends to take it. Their destination is a tavern in Karzan, known as the Cute Rabbit's Base. Inside the bustling establishment, Aaron leads the way through the crowd, with Kyone following close behind. Despite its innocent name, the Cute Rabbit is a guild notorious for its less than savory activities, making Kyone wonder if Aaron is truly going too far. Elsewhere in the tavern, a young man with light gray hair confronts another man wearing glasses, who appears increasingly uncomfortable. The man in glasses struggles to respond, his thoughts racing as he considers whether to intervene or intercede. The light-haired man accuses him of corruption, demanding to know who could be stealing alcohol on the streets. A sudden, brutal strike sends a man with glasses reeling, his face contorted in shock as he cries out, unable to comprehend how his impervious spell could have been breached, demanding to know if this was an attempt to start a fight. The attacker's arm, a blur of motion, continues the assault, leaving the victim stunned by the sheer audacity of the act. Within the dimly lit interior of the Drunken Widow's Tavern, a woman with light hair watches the unfolding chaos with a surprised expression. Clutching a dagger, she asserts the guild's authority, reminding everyone that this territory belongs to the Frosty Dagger Guild. Meanwhile, an internal monologue reveals a deep apprehension, as the speaker reflects on the Drunken Widow's reputation as the #1 guild to avoid, vowing to prevent her brother from entering this time, before a sudden realization dawns. Isn't he the administrator? Unaware of the internal turmoil, Aaron, the dark-haired man with a scar, commands his subordinates, ordering them to bring drinks for a VIP game. Outside, a serene full moon casts its glow over the city, a stark contrast to the brewing tension within the tavern. Back inside, Aaron sits across from Kyone, meticulously reviewing a map, declaring that their preparations are going well, while Kyone looks on, a question lingering on his lips. His face etched with worry, Kyone wonders how long Aaron plans to joke around, as Aaron's confident pronouncements about everything going smoothly and the lucky gambler, leading the way, only deepen his unease. He swallows hard, his face flushed with anxiety. Looking up at Aaron, he hears him acknowledge the inherent danger of their next move, even more so than the dungeons they had previously explored. But Aaron merely smirks, declaring that the risk is all the more reason to proceed. Kyone's gaze falls to a glowing blue map, his thoughts consumed by the need to capture their elusive target, that boss who could be anywhere. Aaron's confident grin remains. As Kyone considers the necessity of dismantling all the local gangs in this area, he wonders if that is truly the right approach. His expression hardens. Aaron's eye glows with fierce determination, announcing, tonight, he will personally eliminate the leader of the Lone Wolf Gang. The chilling declaration from Aaron wasn't a joke, it was a stark, terrifying reality. As his eyes glowed with an ominous blue light, the realization dawned. He truly intended to become the demon of Karzan. It wasn't arrogance or a bluff after all, but a terrifying, calculated resolve. Kyone's face twisted in horror, a desperate plea escaping his lips, urging Aaron to stop this madness and get out of the way. Unheeding, Aaron pressed forward, declaring they were moving too slowly if they didn't finish by tomorrow afternoon, urging them to get going. As they continued their relentless march, a heavy impact echoed through the night. A desperate cry of NNOO tore through the air. Under the twin moons, the town below began to crumble, a deep thud reverberating as structures gave way. Flames erupted across the rooftops, the sound of destruction intensifying with another deafening crash. Amidst the growing chaos, he declares, he won't be spared once he's caught. Another voice adds, incredulous, how dare he commit fraud in the Lone Wolf's casino? The situation escalates further as a panicked cry rings out. Someone set the building on fire. The first man, his face grim, realizes they've broken into a fight with the Frosty Dagger over there. His companion, utterly bewildered, mutters, crap, what's going on? Meanwhile, a new figure steps forward, introducing himself to a tense crowd. My name is Jern. He continues, his voice firm. I'm the gatekeeper of the Lone Wolf. The nights in Karzan were normally loud, filled with the city's vibrant life, but today it's especially worse, as flames engulf the district. From a high vantage point, Aaron observes the destruction, musing, I wonder if they think what a war would feel like. He concludes, his gaze unwavering. Even if a war really broke out, all I need to do is stand here. As the city burns, a cloaked figure moves through the streets, while Jern's voice echoes, explaining his allegiance. Because I am the Lone Wolf's. The figure, now revealed as Aaron, pauses, his gaze sharp as he addresses someone nearby. Are you having a good evening? Working hard, I see. His hand rests near a sheathed dagger at his hip. And he calls out again, hey. Aaron waits for a response, while Kale, standing firm at his post, wonders to himself, is he a drunkard? Aaron continues, his voice calm despite the chaos around them. The city seems to be in havoc since earlier, but you don't seem to be moving an inch. Kale's face hardens with resolve, as he firmly states his purpose, because guarding this spot is my duty. Aaron, still cloaked, observes the chaos, noting that other organizations don't have gatekeepers like Kale. He considers the boss of the Lone Wolf's affiliate, Jern, a coward, and believes that dying must be terrifying for him, advising caution with words. Kale stands firm, his expression unyielding. Aaron then remarks that the cruel man he's referring to will likely die, having never witnessed such cruelty in his life. This cruel individual possesses a magic weapon, which allows him a glimpse of the truth with an eye. But even more terrifying than that weapon is something else entirely. It's the very existence of the knight protecting him. Aaron reacts with surprise, questioning the idea of a knight, as he'd never even heard of such a thing. Despite his stern demeanor, Kale, though he may be a drunkard, fought with his life and screwed up, for the sword of humanity is the only sword of humanity. He continues, revealing that the cruel man also commands 40 organization members, whom he uses as if they were his own limbs. Surrounded by shadowy figures, Jern scoffs, declaring that whatever happens is on Aaron's head, not his. Aaron, however, calmly reminds him that he never even gave him that information, thanking Jern for the slip. A slight, unsettling smile plays on his lips as he adds that he holds a good grace towards him. He then grabs Jern by the collar, observing that he is, as expected, drunk. Jern, eyes wide with fear and sweat beading on his brow, thinks to himself that there is no human in this world who does not die. Aaron places a hand on Jern's shoulder, his voice low and menacing, explaining that whether it's a knight, a king, or even the emperor, they all equally put their neck on the line once they are in his hand. Looking up at the imposing figure, Jern warns that if Philip dies by any chance, he should stop jobs like this, go back to the start, and think hard. Aaron simply looks down at him, suggesting there must surely be someone Jern is good at killing. Jern's face is etched with concern as he glances back, and he mutters to himself, confirming that the arrangement was successful, and he managed to get inside. A thought lingers in his mind, something he still wishes to accomplish. Meanwhile, under the full moon, the city sleeps. In a secluded, shadowed chamber, Aaron stands, his dark cloak obscuring his features, a faint rustle accompanying his movement. Elsewhere, a hushed crowd gathers in a dimly lit, cavernous space, their low murmurs filling the air. His hand holds a small, glowing pouch, its contents subtly radiating light. Aaron speaks, confirming the intelligence. There are roughly 40 members in the organization. He calculates, adding the individuals operating outside, concluding the total is closer to 35, and muses on whether this boss is more cunning than he'd anticipated. Having successfully infiltrated the enemy's ranks, Jern muses on the ease with which he manipulated the situation, recalling his arrangement with the cute rabbit and frosty dragon, and even the enigmatic Son Goku. He holds up a glowing pouch, a symbol of his success, reflecting that the organization accepted his terms far quicker than he'd anticipated, allowing most of their members to be swept up in the ensuing chaos. He also remembers tossing Sconeby into the mix, who was already done with his mission and now resides in an inn, leaving only one final task remaining. As he walks down a dark corridor, Jern discards several empty bottles and other items, leaving them scattered on the floor. Among the discarded items, a small, pulsating red orb glows ominously. The orb pulses with an intense, crimson light, its energy radiating outwards. Meanwhile, a stern-faced man with glowing red eyes and a reddish beard looks on, his voice echoing with a single, demanding question. What are you? An unseen voice recognizes Aaron, calling him that night, as a crimson aura flares around him. He braces himself, a defiant refusal escaping his lips, declaring he won't be easily overcome. A surge of vibrant purple energy erupts around him, his resolve hardening with the thought that he just needs to fight well. A cloaked figure moves silently through the shadows, their footsteps barely audible as they navigate a dimly lit corridor. Each step is deliberate, a measured approach towards an unseen destination. Meanwhile, Aaron sits, bottle in hand, a weary expression on his face as he takes another drink. The cloaked figure observes him, a thought forming in their mind. They say he drinks rum every day, yet he's still alive. He truly is as formidable as the rumors claim. Gripping the hilt of their sword, they reflect on their own efforts. Compared to him, I train my body every single day. A faint, ominous aura begins to emanate from them as they acknowledge the stark reality. Even so, my victory cannot be guaranteed. The glowing energy intensifies around their feet, a testament to the power they face, this damned aura. A sudden, violent impact shatters something unseen, sending fragments and blood spraying outward. But before the attack can fully land, a gauntlet hand flashes into view, deflecting the blow with a burst of sparks. In the blink of an eye, the figure moves, a mere blur of motion leaving a trail of light in their wake. An opponent's pained grunt echoes as the red-eyed mage's face comes into sharp focus, a menacing grin spreading across his features, his eyes burning with an intense, crimson glow. His entire being seems to have shifted, his movements now those of a completely different, far more dangerous person. This, he knows, is his true power, a unique blade that absorbs the foe's strength, now radiating with a potent, crimson aura. With a swift, decisive motion, he brings the glowing red sword down in a powerful arc. He taunts his opponent, a chilling promise in his voice. Your sword will shatter into pieces. For that reason, fights normally try to avoid this. The red-eyed mage's blade glows with malevolent intent, poised to shatter his opponent's weapon. The impact sends shockwaves through the ground, sparks flying as steel grinds against steel. He swings his sword with a devastating arc, a crimson aura flaring around him. Another powerful blow lands, causing the opponent's weapon to groan under the immense pressure. His gaze burns with fierce determination, eyes glowing intensely as he pushes his advantage. The relentless assault forces him to block with his entire body, absorbing the full brunt of the attack. A pained grunt escapes him, his face contorted in a grimace of struggle and exertion. The red-eyed mage declares his intent to break the weapon with raw strength, his form radiating power. With a final, explosive force, the opponent's weapon shatters into countless fragments. Even as the remnants of his shattered weapon fall away, a guttural groan escapes him. But before the red-eyed mage can press his advantage, a sudden, brutal impact sends him reeling, blood erupting from his face. He stumbles back, a fresh wound tearing across his chest, as Aaron's arm glows with a fierce, golden energy, preparing for another strike. The mage collapses to the ground, defeated, a voice echoing that it will be over for him if he doesn't rise. But for Aaron, standing tall with his back to the fallen foe, the distance between them now feels insignificant. With a sharp, decisive motion, he delivers another blow, snapping the mage's head back as blood sprays. A final, desperate cry of pain echoes as the assault continues. The red-eyed mage lies broken and bleeding on the cold stone, the impact of the final blows still echoing. He turns his back on the fallen foe, walking away from the brutal scene. A soft sigh escapes him as he glances back, his expression unreadable. His gaze falls to his blade, the edge now visibly chipped from the ferocity of the fight. Descending a flight of stairs, glowing particles drift around him, remnants of the intense battle. He continues to inspect the damaged weapon, a faint hum emanating from its core. The chipped edge of the blade glows with a soft, internal light, a testament to the power it had wielded. Looking down at the still form of his defeated opponent, he offers a quiet prayer for peace. Even in this moment of victory, he reflects on his identity, acknowledging his status as an honorary conventual. A low rumble echoes through the night, disturbing a young woman from her sleep, who groans in annoyance at the incessant noise. Her bare feet touch the cold floor as she wonders if cities are always this loud, unable to find rest. Standing in her bed, she throws her hands up in exasperation, questioning what could possibly be happening outside at such an hour. The answer comes with a terrifying roar, as a full moon illuminates a town already engulfed in a fiery inferno. Flames consume buildings, casting an ominous glow across the night sky, while the very ground cracks and sizzles under the intense heat. Amidst the raging destruction, Aaron stands, his gaze fixed on the chaos unfolding around him. Amidst the raging inferno that consumes the town, figures move through the smoke and embers, with Aaron standing prominently in the foreground. Suddenly, a young woman with vibrant orange hair looks out from a window, her eyes wide with shock, a soft gasp escaping her lips. Her expression shifts to one of utter disbelief as she takes in the full scope of the disaster, muttering about the sheer mess before her. A flicker of recognition crosses her mind, wondering why Aaron's face would suddenly appear in her thoughts, though she quickly dismisses the idea, then reconsiders the possibility. Meanwhile, the man himself stands outside, his back to the viewer, gazing up at the very building she observes from, a silent sentinel amidst the destruction. Her internal monologue continues, convinced that even if it were Aaron, he wouldn't be capable of such devastation, struggling to reconcile his image with the scene. His face, etched with a grim determination, confirms his presence, his gaze unwavering. The young woman's attention is then drawn to a specific feature of the building, a question forming in her mind about a particular door. The ornate golden door stands out, a silent testament to a timeless truth. The allure of gold remains constant, regardless of the era or the individuals drawn to it. He stands within a grand, ornate chamber, the air thick with an unspoken tension, as if awaiting judgment. A voice echoes, drawing his attention to the lavish details of the room, asking if he would look at that. Indeed, The chamber is decorated with a splendor befitting royalty, a stark contrast to the burning town he just left. Suddenly, a man steps into view, his expression stern, demanding to know who he is. The man's voice rises, filled with indignation, asking where he thinks he has the audacity to step foot. His face contorts with anger, a clear challenge in his eyes. He continues his tirade, warning that as long as he has the backing of the 4 heavenly kings, the intruder won't be leaving in one piece. The man's expression is a mix of fury and arrogance, his confidence unwavering. He lets out a mocking laugh, dismissing the title with contempt, and asks if he's forgotten that they are brothers. He stands unfazed, a slight smirk playing on his lips as the noble's outrage continues to mount, his words echoing the surprise of the guards. The noble, still reeling from the unexpected intrusion, demands to know how he managed to breach their security and enter the room. The blue-haired noble, Behatten, turns away, his expression a mixture of disbelief and growing anger. His gaze falls upon the sword at his hip, a weapon that should have been recognized by any guard in the corridors. A sharp, calculating glint enters his green eyes as he considers the implications of the intrusion. The intricate details of his noble attire are visible, emphasizing his status. Aaron, still observing the unfolding drama, acknowledges the noble's confusion, confirming that no one should have let him pass without recognition. Meanwhile, an unseen observer recognizes the distinctive sword, realizing it belongs to Knight Behatten. From the shadows, the red-eyed mage watches Behatten's back, his crimson gaze fixed on the unfolding scene with keen interest. Behatten laments the fate of a knight he had personally brought in, finding it truly unfortunate. Aaron's voice cuts through the air, asking if the answer isn't already obvious. A smirk plays on his lips, his expression unbothered. Suddenly, a new voice declares, "I came to kill you." Aaron's reaction is one of disbelief, a surprised chuckle escaping him. He doubles over, clutching his stomach, finding the declaration utterly hilarious. The new arrival, Jern, undeterred, advises him not to lose his confidence. With a deliberate step, Jern moves closer. Aaron continues to laugh heartily, while Jern stands beside him, a smirk playing on his own face, ready for whatever comes next. Jern continues his boast, claiming influence over even the Mayor Gorum. Aaron, unfazed, counters that his connections run deeper, extending even into the imperial family. Still confident, Jern challenges him, asking if he can truly handle such powerful figures. Aaron's expression darkens as he warns Jern not to mistake his amusement for weakness, promising to exaggerate any offense, unless Jern were to kiss his feet. A chilling smirk plays on his lips, his face half-shrouded in shadow, as he delivers his final, unspoken threat. Before Jern can even react, a blindingly fast strike connects, red slashes erupting from the impact point. The force sends Jern reeling, his glasses askew, blood splattering across his face. A deafening quang echoes through the space, marking the brutal efficiency of the blow. Aaron stands calmly, a slight smirk still playing on his lips, while Behatten, startled, nearly spills his drink, muttering about the suddenness of the attack. Did he truly believe his threats would work against someone like Aaron? Jern wonders, his mind reeling from the impact. Aaron, meanwhile, stands bathed in a crimson aura, his eyes glowing with an intense, dangerous red light, a silent testament to the power he wields. The aftermath of his strike is clear, a bloody blade reflecting the brutal efficiency of his attack. As intense, orange flames erupt and consume the surrounding space. He stands unfazed amidst the inferno, his expression now calm as he surveys the scene, the display of power concluded. He remarks on the lack of emergency measures taken against him. The flames continue to rage, a testament to the raw force he just unleashed, confirming that no one had anticipated such a direct and overwhelming approach. From a distance, 2 figures observe the spectacle. One, a man with a goatee and a hat, comments on the 4 heavenly kings, while Aaron, with unwavering resolve, declares his intention to take the boss position of the lone wolf. He leans forward slightly, a confident smile playing on his lips. Everyone is free to show off their merits as much as they like, he proclaims. From a quiet distance, the red-eyed mage observes the scene, his gaze sharp and unwavering. Meanwhile, Philip, his face contorted in a furious grimace, remembers how Aaron had not even hesitated at his threats, grabbing him by the neck instead. Unconcerned by such reactions, Aaron calmly looks down, pondering, just what is it that he wants? A faint, confident smirk then touches his lips. Philip, now clutching a thick, gnarled stick, recalls the severe punishment for rebellion, the burning at the stake. He then boasts, "My nickname is the human butcher knife." With a menacing grin, he adds, "I can kidnap anyone without consequence." A quiet, decisive move, leaving behind not a single piece of evidence, as a gloved hand makes a soft impact. Another figure is quickly subdued, held firmly to the ground. Philip grimaces, a purple-red aura of exertion or pain flaring around him. The unseen struggle culminates as blood splatters across the ground. Then, the red-eyed mage's face is consumed by a crimson glow, his eyes burning with intense power as he prepares an attack. A blinding flash of white light and speed lines indicate a swift, powerful strike. Philip recoils violently from the impact, shouting in pain, cursing his attacker. Despite the bruises and cuts marring his face, Eren smiles confidently, about to reveal his identity. He declares his past as the one handling the low-level mafia's dirty work, demanding the position of boss. A stern-faced warrior with long, silver hair tied back gazes forward, his electric blue eyes glowing with an intense light, as a bloodied polearm rests on his shoulder. A somber report details the recent conflict, stating that the three organizations engaged in an all-out war yesterday. Before a council of robed figures, the messenger continues, explaining that while the exact number of casualties remains untallied, a mutual agreement fortunately prevented any civilian losses. Among the listeners, Jern takes in the grim news, while Behatton reacts with a gasp of shock and concern. Meanwhile, a figure arrives, clutching a brown bag, and looks down apologetically. Before introducing himself as shown, the third-level administrator, Jern, holding a wrapped gift, dismisses any notion of materialism, claiming he already has plenty of presents. However, Eren interjects, clarifying that the gift isn't for everyone, but rather something he received from a friend on his way there. Jern, looking apologetic, admits he might have overdone it, offering his apologies since he was in charge of the gifts. Eren, with a slight smirk, chides him for being slow to catch on, especially after being late. Then, with a commanding tone, he demands a seat and declares that the meeting should continue. Behatton, seated at the table, shifts the conversation, lamenting that unlike the other two organizations, they haven't been able to secure the lone wolf, a figure he insists they must acquire as soon as possible. Jern, observing Eren's confident demeanor, expresses a sense of awe for their amazing commoner captain. Behatton, however, looks on with disdain, questioning Eren's strong background and dismissing his gift from a friend as utterly senseless. Eren holds a gift box, a sarcastic thought crossing his mind about a promotion that seems to make everything else irrelevant. Meanwhile, Behatton, his face etched with annoyance, mutters about that guy fear causing trouble again. Such words would normally be dismissed, even from him, but a deeper question lingers. Does he truly have anything good to say? With a smug expression, Behatton suggests Eren find a job more suited to him. Eren's patience snaps, a sharp shut up, escaping his lips. His gaze hardening, he clarifies that the item is a gift from a friend. Behatton's face contorts in pure rage, his eyes beginning to glow with an eerie green light. The unspoken thought hangs heavy in the air. Stop blabbering nonsense just because you have an open mouth. Eren's hand clenches into a tight fist, the sound of his knuckles cracking echoing the rising fury within him. Eren, his anger simmering, roughly hauls the unnamed man by his collar, demanding to know what he thinks he's doing. His grip unyielding, Eren pulls the man's hand, questioning where he believes this confrontation is heading. Standing over the now-seated figure, Eren's presence looms, an unspoken threat hanging in the air. He presses further, asking about the man's promotion, who, in turn, meekly replies that he's merely from commoner origins, implying he has no such aspirations. Eren's eyes widen, a vein throbbing in his temple as he considers the man's desperate words, who then mutters about having to bring back Philip's head to prove himself. Before the man can finish, Eren's fist connects with his face, a sickening crunch echoing as blood erupts from his nose and mouth. The force of the blow distorts his features, leaving him a bloody mess. Blood spatters across the ground, a stark reminder of the brutal interrogation. The terrified commoner, his face contorted in fear, finally manages to stammer out, "We found him." He repeats, his voice barely a whisper as he looks up at the sky. "We found him." The full revelation finally escapes him. "Philip is here." Eren's voice cuts through the air, giving a cold instruction, "Wrap it up nicely." A hand moves to secure the commoner, preparing him as instructed. Eren continues, his tone chillingly calm. "Because it's going to be a gift." Behatton responds with a simple, "Yes," before asking, but what will the lone wolf do now?" Eren stands, his gaze distant, while Behatton awaits further orders. Eren's hand extends, a silent offer as he continues to address the commoner, implying that if there's something he desires, he must figure it out and do well on his own. He then turns his attention to Behatton, instructing him to do his best, whatever his boss wants him to do. Eren then declares that with no one left to bother him, his business here is concluded. Behatton, however, has a request, asking Eren to watch over the gatekeeper administrator, Shone, in his stead. Eren simply reiterates his earlier command, stating that the gatekeeper should get what he wants to do, and Behatton should do his best, whatever his boss wants. Eren offers a knowing smile, while Behatton, looking exasperated, complains that he doesn't want to go back to the rear, fearing he'll die of boredom. Eren then proposes a compromise, stating that he will periodically send requests to Behatton upon his return, and will also include some gold coins. The mention of gold immediately changes Behatton's tune, as he asks, "Oh ho, will that be all right?" He stands in a void, a profound silence hanging heavy in the air. It was said that not even a single speck of dust was brought with him when he was born, a testament to his unique existence. Now, a crackling blue energy ignites around his head, his eyes glowing with an intense, focused power. The hum of power reverberates as the energy spreads, cascading down to the ground beneath him. Eren exhales sharply, a powerful blue aura enveloping his entire form, the force of his magic visibly impacting the very air around him. He knows what he must do, but a pragmatic thought crosses his mind. He still doesn't want to waste money. As the blue energy crackles intensely, a viscous, black substance begins to pool on the ground before him. He lets out a guttural cry, the blue light intensifying around him, his face etched with strain and fierce determination. The energy pulses around his chest and shoulder, a testament to the immense power he is channeling. Aaron finds himself surprisingly refreshed, musing that cleaning magic is far more potent than he had imagined, feeling more invigorated than after a bath. A nervous shopkeeper then requests payment, stating that the service will be 20 silver coins. He even offers to teach a few magic spells, for an additional 20 gold coins. Aaron, thoroughly impressed, exclaims that he couldn't possibly refuse such an offer, declaring his intention to move his entire residence to Kasurti's business. The shopkeeper, taken aback by Aaron's enthusiasm, quickly asks him to wait a minute. Aaron simply smiles, a look of deep satisfaction on his face. As the shopkeeper, perhaps as a gesture of goodwill, offers a complimentary shoe shine. The shopkeeper proudly declares that his establishment provides excellent service. With a final, contented stride, Aaron departs, leaving behind a trail of shimmering particles. Aaron, with a confident smile, issues a final directive, ensuring everyone knows where to find him once they are ready. Meanwhile, in a different location, an empty room stands silent, its brick walls bearing witness to an unseen event. A young woman, Kasurti, surveys the chaotic aftermath of what appears to be a struggle, her expression filled with dismay at the sheer mess before her. A wave of regret washes over her as she realizes the timing of her arrival, muttering to herself about her work having delayed her. Her eyes widen in shock, a gasp escaping her lips as the full extent of the devastation registers. The realization of what has transpired leaves her utterly stunned, her mind reeling from the unexpected turn of events. A silent exclamation of horror escapes her, as faint, glowing particles drift through the air, hinting at the magical forces at play. Her gaze falls upon Behatton, lying motionless on the ground, his body slumped and clearly injured, a victim of the recent turmoil. The glowing motes continue to shimmer, a lingering testament to the powerful magic that caused such destruction. Aaron's face, marred by bandages and a fresh scar, shows the lingering effects of his recent ordeal. Nearby, Kasurti watches over him, her expression gentle. She observes his sleeping form, noting the particular way his face settles in slumber. After another night of recovery, the two sit together, a quiet understanding passing between them. The morning sun rises high, promising a long day of rest, as he likely sleeps for half the day to make up for his ordeal. Later, the rooftops of a bustling city stretch out beneath a clear sky. The rhythmic clatter of a carriage wheel echoes through the streets, as Aaron, now fully recovered, expresses his gratitude for a good night's sleep. The driver, annoyed by his chatter, snaps back that he was merely finishing his work. From his vantage point high above the city, Aaron playfully asks if he caused any trouble, quickly reassuring himself that he didn't smash any walls. As the carriage rumbles along, he hears a voice from beside him, asking if there's anything else he'd like to say. She quickly adds, she doesn't want to become an accomplice to his lies, accusing him of being picked up somewhere. Aaron simply offers a non-committal, well sure. He then clarifies, he did pick that fight in the headquarters of the Lone Wolf. Her eyes narrowing with suspicion, she cuts him off, stating she has one more question. Looking around at the various items in the carriage, he asks, just what are all those armors? He muses aloud. He's not sure what the value of something that does it worth properly in this age is. She retorts, she's not sure what his hoards of a souvenir are. He holds out a piece of armor, explaining that he has one for her too, a heart guard that should at least offer some protection. Kasurti stares at the bulky piece, a sound of exasperation escaping her as she realizes its size. And she remarks that it looks a little small to her. Aaron dismisses her concern, insisting it should be more than enough, then adds with a smirk that her chest area looks like it would get stuck. He continues, playfully chiding her for overestimating herself, but Kasurti, now visibly furious, snaps back, demanding he look more closely. Her face contorts in pure rage. And with a deafening crash, something slams into the ground, cracking the earth beneath it. A spear-like object, glowing faintly, remains impaled where it landed, leaving Aaron utterly shocked and exasperated by her sudden, violent outburst. A stone arrow, crudely fashioned yet deadly, suddenly pierces the wooden wall of their shelter. The impact leaves no doubt. It's an arrow made entirely of stone. A sudden attack, Behatton realizes, his eyes wide with alarm. Aaron, already reaching for his bow, knows exactly who uses such crude, oversized projectiles. Goblins. Indeed, a horde of the creatures swarms through the forest, advancing on their position. Behatton quickly assesses their numbers, estimating roughly 20 of them. Aaron's brow furrows. Goblins rarely group together like this, suggesting a small village or nest must be nearby. Without hesitation, he unleashes a burst of glowing blue energy, striking the ground with a powerful impact. He stands firm, facing the horde of grotesque goblins that now swarm before him. A cold resolve settles over his features as he declares, I'm going to get back after playing with these goblin bastards for a bit. Then, with blinding speed, he strikes, a green glow erupting around the first goblin as it takes the full force of his attack. The impact sending a shockwave through its body. His movements are a blur, his expression a mask of fierce concentration as he presses his assault. Another goblin meeting a swift, bloody end. Its body twists violently from the force, and he delivers a final, crushing blow to a third. The creature collapses, defeated, as the dust settles around him. He continues his relentless assault, a powerful, glowing strike tearing through the air. With each swift movement, he cuts down multiple goblins, their blood splattering across the rocky ground. Yet, a strange thought crosses his mind as he observes the fallen foes. This is unusual. Normal goblins would have fled after facing just a few opponents. Instead of retreating, they continue to charge at him with even greater ferocity. Another brutal impact echoes as he dispatches another foe. Briefly turning his head, he calls out to Caserti, asking if she has finished her task. His expression remains grim, a silent acknowledgement of the deepening mystery. Looking at the bloodied blade in his hand, he concludes that these creatures must be under someone else's control. The gruesome aftermath of his latest kill serves as stark evidence of the relentless battle. A sickening crunch echoes as he examines the strange, dark residue. Turning to Caserti, he observes the wound on her arm, realizing this substance is the residue of black magic. His grip tightens on his sword, the thought forming in his mind. Could they be controlling living goblins? Is that even possible? He muses that keeping them from controlling goblins is one thing, but the real problem is how a mage came to such a remote place. Caserti already has a record of a black mage breaking in, he recalls, connecting the pieces. Meanwhile, Caserti, sword drawn, wonders if they are targeting the lady again. He assures her they will find out once they return to Caserti. As he makes his way towards the distant city, a sigh escapes him, lamenting bothersome work. The city of Caserti looms in the distance, awaiting their return. Inside the fortress, a guard remarks on the unusual quiet, wondering if Aaron had already departed for Chasm. His companion confirms it, as a distant view of the massive arched gate shows figures already passing through. The first guard sighs contentedly, muttering that it's nice when inspection times are so peaceful. His companion, however, seems less convinced, letting out a confused huh? Meanwhile, Aaron rides away from the fortress on horseback, the rhythmic thud of hooves echoing across the open plains. His gaze is steady, his expression resolute, as he embarks on his journey. As a horse gallops past, a voice calls out in surprise, wondering if that's Aaron. Looking back over his shoulder, he addresses the group with a simple, everyone. One of the guards, recognizing him, asks, Aaron, right? You got out by carriage? What happened? The guard, a grizzled man with a short beard, explains, there were a lot of goblins. I needed to get out and clean up a bit. His foot then presses down onto a patch of glowing green residue. His gaze fixed intently on the strange substance. Aaron, noticing the peculiar sight, asks with a hint of concern, what is that goblin residue thing? The guard, his expression grim, identifies it as it's a goblin, and explains, it's known to be a pain for stamina, that it's like looking for a needle in a haystack in the mana. He finishes, his face contorted in frustration, indicating the difficulty of dealing with such a nuisance. He haggles with a merchant, asking for a discount on an item he's been curious about. The merchant, however, insists there are no copper coins, but agrees to accept the offer, noting the items are very fresh and rarely picked, as a transaction takes place between their hands. Internally, Aaron curses the situation, deciding to deal with whatever it is later, his only immediate desire to go back and take a shower. His face flushed with frustration, he blurts out a quick apology. As Aaron walks away, the merchant waves him off, telling him to take his goblin stuff and that he needs to head home. Aaron, holding a small, glowing green orb in his hand, responds with a cheerful, oh ho thanks. The merchant watches him go, a pixelated expression of surprise or annoyance on his face. His beard bristling slightly as he processes the interaction. Both figures walk away, the merchant glancing back with a lingering thought. He finally arrives, his gaze sweeping over the familiar grounds. A declaration echoes through the air, announcing his return to Caserti Fortress. Inside, a young man looks up, a gasp of pure astonishment escaping him as he spots the returning figure. Surrounded by others, his excitement is palpable, a wide grin spreading across his face. His joy is uncontained, a bright, genuine smile lighting up his features. Turning to his brother, he exclaims, Brother, to think you'd give me such a great gift. I've never even received one from my father before. Holding up a piece of gleaming armor, he adds with satisfaction, As I expected, armor is the best gift. He listens intently as the conversation turns to recent events in Kazan, a companion asking how it all transpired while Aaron was there. His friend admits to being completely overwhelmed by the news, suggesting that whatever happened must be connected to the captain. Aaron simply offers a calming, now. As the tavern keeper, Hannah, moves to clear the table, she asks them to make some room. Aaron then turns to her, inquiring about how business is faring. Hannah's expression darkens as she explains they can't make proper sales, being completely out of ingredients because the Lord is taking everything for his preparations. Her frustration boils over, lamenting that even the pickled meat has been taken, leaving them with nothing to eat. She curses the Lord vehemently, though Aaron gently chides her for being annoying. Behatten then cautiously asks if they are discussing the Emperor, admitting his fear, while Aaron advises that it's best to avoid such dangerous topics. He turns to Hannah, noticing a new accessory, remarking that he hasn't seen her headband before, but it suits her very well. Behatten then adds that Aaron himself gave it to her as a gift. A blush spreads across her face as she asks if it looks good on her. The small compliment and gift seem to have calmed her down considerably. Changing the subject, Aaron asks if anything happened while he was gone. Behatten replies with a dismissive wave, wondering what could possibly happen in this countryside, as it's always the same. Aaron then remembers that while Behatten was absent, the guild master had been looking for him. Behatten's expression darkens as he wonders what it is about the guild master that makes him look so hard to please. Meanwhile, information from the Black Market Network reveals rumors of a new gathering happening in District 6. He listens intently as the hushed report confirms that the new faces appearing in the district are entirely unfamiliar. A scoff escapes Caserti, her frustration evident as she confronts him, demanding to know if things truly happened as he claimed. Meanwhile, Behatten provides crucial context, explaining that District 6 is the domain of Jackal the Usurer, a notorious father-son duo. Aaron's gaze hardens, his thoughts turning inward as he questions who would dare to gather in such a heavily controlled area. He surveys his surroundings, a silent contemplation of the implications of this new information. Soon, they find themselves in the heart of Universe Capital's District 6, a grand and imposing area. Aaron observes the street, a hint of suspicion in his voice as he wonders if these individuals are truly gathering out in the open, noting that something about it feels off. Caserti, standing beside him, remarks on the captain's influence, suggesting that everyone here values their own life too much to cause trouble. He offers a warm, if somewhat weary, smile, wishing everyone a good rest. Soon, he finds himself passing through a bustling archway, entering the heart of District 6 where a crowd has gathered. Two men, one with wavy green hair and another with dark, neat hair, observe the scene, the green-haired man questioning what's happening. Aaron, however, is focused on something else entirely, kneeling to inspect the ground. The green-haired man approaches him, asking what the matter is. The dark-haired man, standing beside his companion, identifies Aaron as the captain of the guards. With a slight smirk, the green-haired man offers a formal greeting. Aaron looks up, his expression unreadable, and asks if they are simply patrolling or if something is truly amiss. His gaze remains sharp, awaiting their response. A local man, his face unfamiliar, questions the newcomer's identity, asking for his name. He introduces himself simply as George. George repeats his name, a slight challenge in his tone. Aaron, in turn, demands to know George's business in Caserti Fortress, adding a dismissive remark about his ugly-looking friend. George explains that this is his deceased mother's hometown, and he came here with friends, hearing it was a good place to live. He further clarifies that he was considering starting a new job there, which is why he had excluded himself from his friend's current activities. Aaron muses that if George had simply been rude, it would have been easier to have an honest conversation. He then concedes, very well. But his next words are a shocking command. Then strip everything right now. Aaron's unexpected command hangs in the air, a smirk playing on his lips as he watches the man's reaction. The man, George, can only stare back in disbelief, a single thought echoing in his mind. What in the world is he talking about? His two friends, standing nearby, look on with concern, their faces etched with worry for their companion. George, still reeling, manages to stammer out a question. Are you serious right now? Aaron simply shrugs, a knowing look in his eyes, as if to say, isn't that just how life goes? He then glances down at a small, spherical object he holds in his hand, its surface reflecting the light. George, defeated, turns away from his friends, who watch him go with heavy hearts, the weight of the situation settling upon them. Aaron, still holding the object, begins to walk away, a thoughtful expression on his face as he considers, but I can't find my friends. He continues his stride, announcing his next destination. Then I'll be off to the synagogue now. A voice from off-panel responds, yes, you've worked hard. As he enters the grand, ornate hall, a voice echoes, calling out to him. I have a favor to ask of you. Conventional Aaron. Suddenly, a red-faced man in elaborate religious robes, Brighton, screams, please, kill this son of a bitch, Brighton. His command reverberates with a potent, almost magical force. Aaron watches the outburst, a thoughtful frown creasing his brow as he considers. I think this guy is the real deal. What the hell is going on? As Brighton stands over a fallen figure, Aaron's mind races. Who is Brighton? The enraged cleric continues his tirade, his voice dripping with venom. A viscous, demonic, and cursed bastard. Aaron's eyes widen in shock, a single word escaping his lips as he processes the scene. Is this? Brighton's voice booms again, addressing an unseen audience with a manic energy. You must be wondering. I'll tell you. You just don't know yet. I'm so sick of their prayer. Their prayer. Prayer. As Brighton continues his impassioned outburst, Aaron silently questions the scene. Aren't they saying a priest should be pure in the first place? Brighton declares, his voice echoing through the hall. If killing him is too much, beating him into a pulp is also fine by me. Here's the remaining fee. He then promises, I will give you more if you succeed. A priest requesting murder has truly lost his mind, the narrator observes. Aaron wonders how bad this person must be to throw such a fit, questioning, how can an ordinary conventual not know proper recital? Brighton, meanwhile, thinks to himself, my words are not meant for the ears of the common folk. They are for the one who truly understands, the one who will open the door. He continues his impassioned speech. Everything is just an excuse. Here, the scripture I've learned, and the scripture I've taught, is just an excuse. I'll give it to you especially. I'll give it to you, and when we meet again, I'll be sure to check. Abbot Brighton, his face etched with fervor, continues his sermon. He preaches, come to the synagogue when the sun is rising to rise. Everyone prays at that time, and prayer alone will help strengthen your faith. What? Training? Then wake up a little earlier. Deep sleep can be overcome with willpower. 3 hours later, the narrator notes, Brighton's sermon has concluded. Aaron, still present, reflects on the situation, thinking, if you continue to hold on to that belief, you will die all alone. He wonders if he truly has to attend this ritual every single day, and why he can't have his own time for prayer, suggesting they simply go together instead of being forced into this routine. He considers the reward for his continued success, noting that Brighton seems to relish calling out others and asserting his authority. Later, sitting at a table with a piece of bread, he remains deep in thought. Brighton, meanwhile, walks past, muttering about a two-faced cur and threatening to throw someone out of the place immediately. 2 children watch with wide, concerned eyes, their expressions reflecting the tension in the air. The rules are clear, stand in line properly, and don't fidget, for, when receiving a blessing, it is proper to maintain correct posture and stance. Aaron stands in line, observing Brighton, who turns to look back at him, a silent challenge passing between them. Aaron's frustration boils over as he wonders why this man seems to have no weaknesses, no single loophole to exploit. A wave of exasperation washes over him. As a subtle, almost imperceptible hum of energy emanates from the cloaked figure beside him. Brighton's voice cuts through the air, acknowledging his efforts, saying, good work. I thought you weren't cut out for this, but seeing how you were with me until the end, you appear to have quite a sturdy body. Still, the captain's expression remains one of deep annoyance. As Brighton continues, almost to himself, still, it does have many good sayings, so I don't mind reading it. Then, turning his attention back to Aaron, he adds, I seriously can't find an excuse to hit him. Aaron's internal thoughts echo the sentiment. That's right. I can't hit a person like this for a pretty penny. Brighton continues, his voice carrying a subtle air of self-satisfaction. It's not even stepped foot on the ground for the time being. As the sun rises over the quiet village, casting a warm, golden glow across the rooftops, he finds himself already awake, his expression weary. A voice cuts through the morning stillness, Brighton's calm tone asking, did you sleep well, honorary administrator? He continues, his words dripping with an almost unsettling serenity. It's the perfect morning for prayer. Turning his back, Brighton begins to walk away, leaving Aaron to ponder his words. Aaron watches him go, a thought forming in his mind. I didn't expect him to come find me from all the way over there. He considers the possibility that Brighton is trying to provoke him, but quickly dismisses the idea. Aaron recalls the rumors about Brighton's unwavering discipline, understanding that even physical training is seen as a form of devotion. I heard that you train your body without fail. Working sincerely is also a practice of faith. Brighton's voice, calm and unwavering, still resonates, assuring him, have no worries. I will be by your side, so you can continue to pray without skipping on your training. Aaron's frustration boils over in his mind, labeling Brighton, you clueless great son of a priest. Aaron's blade flashes, cutting deep into the green-skinned creature's arm, before he follows through with another swift strike to its torso. A powerful kick connects with a sickening quang, sending the creature reeling with a pained EUAK. Its face contorts in agony, blood streaming from its wounds. As Aaron calmly declares his kill count, 6, he stands over the creature, delivering a final, decisive blow with another EUAK, and its body slumps to the ground with a wet KKOUK. As the battle raged on, a swift, powerful strike cut through the air, leaving a trail of crimson energy. His dark hair whipping around him, Aaron's gaze remained sharp and focused amidst the spray of blood. Another green-skinned foe reeled back, its head snapping from the force of his blow. The assault continued relentlessly, each strike punctuated by a burst of crimson. With a final, glowing thrust, his blade plunged deep into the creature's chest, its eyes flaring red in its last moments. The weapon remained embedded, blood dripping steadily from the wound. He surveyed the carnage around him, standing amidst a growing pile of defeated foes, his sword still faintly glowing. A quiet count escaped his lips, confirming the number of his vanquished enemies. One of the fallen creatures lay still, its eyes vacant and lifeless. A sudden, sharp sound echoes through the air, followed by a somber realization that someone has vanished, just like that. Aaron and his red-haired companion stand in shock, their hands instinctively covering their mouths in disbelief. A pool of blood on the ground marks the grim reality, as his companion laments the loss of a diligent and kind soul. Despite the tragedy, the red-haired man can't help but voice a growing concern, noting the alarming increase in monster sightings recently. His frustration boils over, questioning if farming is truly more important than human lives, and cursing the damned noble brats for their indifference. As they walk away from the scene, Aaron glances back, his expression unreadable. His companion continues, revealing that the Keeper family's eldest son plans to buy up the surrounding area, fearing that all the tenant farmers will perish at this rate. Turning to Aaron, he explains that the captain was the one who brought them this unsettling news. Aaron's gaze hardens, a deep concern etched into his features as he processes the grim implications. A strange, purple-red glow emanates from an index finger, the energy crackling intensely as it pulses against the skin. Far from that unsettling sight, a serene landscape unfolds under a bright blue sky, with lush green trees and distant white buildings. Aaron rides away on horseback, his companion following close behind, as they disappear into the verdant forest. A voice calls out from off-panel, "Prah, this should be enough to cover the beer you paid for last time." Later, Aaron is seen in a more relaxed setting, a broad smile on his face as he holds a large drinking vessel. His white pants and the green floral patterns on the ground beneath him suggest a pleasant, tranquil environment. He looks up, a thought lingering in his mind that everyone should rest well. Asby Hatton, perched high in a tree, delivers unsettling news. There were traces of dark magic found on the orc corpses this time, too. And even more disturbingly, the orcs themselves had been killed under the cover of darkness. Aaron's expression hardens as he considers the implications, realizing he was the only one who could have known about this, wondering aloud, "How could you not know?" He explains that the imports and exports are too small for anyone else to have noticed such details. While elsewhere, Brighton furiously confronts a bald man, demanding to know why the accounts are so messily handled, calling him a fool for being in charge of the accounting potion. Aaron's eyes widen in surprise, a sudden realization dawning on him as he wonders if that's the same guy who was selling beer before. He strides purposefully, issuing a stern command to take care of the matter himself, demanding the individual responsible leave immediately. He then declares his intention to personally oversee the export of potions starting today, dismissing the other to go tire themselves out. A silver cross pendant hangs prominently from his neck. As he turns to face Hatton, questioning if he'd read the report about the beer cellar, and reminding him that being busy was no excuse. He also holds him responsible for the damage incurred during the orc invasion of the fortress. Aaron's expression shifts to a knowing smirk. Asby Hatton, looking concerned, prepares to speak, admitting he has something important to convey. He reveals that the tenant recently attacked by orcs has died today, but more disturbingly, traces of dark magic were found among those monsters. The news clearly startles Hatton, his eyes widening in surprise. Aaron looks down, contemplating the grim discovery, an undeniable evidence of an ungodly deed. Brighton, deep in thought, connects the dots, realizing the sudden increase of monsters in the fortress was directly linked to the dark magic. Aaron, confronting him, demands to know, "Then what about the dark magic?" Brighton acknowledges the information. "Thank you for telling me." He then makes a request of Aaron. "Please look over this place for me for a while." As Brighton turns to leave, Aaron realizes he was hiding something from him. Brighton declares his immediate departure. "I have somewhere I must go." Meanwhile, Caserty expresses her concern. "Oh man, you'll be in big trouble if you don't catch him." George adds, "I've been looking for him since then, but I can't find him." Aaron, still processing, watches Brighton depart, as the abbot makes his way to find the Lord, leaving Aaron to ponder the implications. The grim reality of the situation is underscored by the sight of a shrouded corpse, a silent testament to the escalating danger. The Lord, having done nothing about the current situation, had prohibited the movement of all tenants until the cleanup was complete. That single word from the abbot, Brighton, carried immense weight. It even extended to the lives of the farmers. And the abbot personally took charge of the funeral, a strange man indeed. Aaron, observing the scene, noted that thanks to the abbot's intervention, a funeral was held, considering the circumstances of the tenant farmers. He wondered if the cleanup was truly taking this long. He continued, explaining to Hatton that the outer garrison was milking the situation, just as always, and it seemed like the last unfortunate incident had been forgotten for now. Aaron concluded, musing that if one considered the circumstances, it was obvious the abbot was hiding something, especially regarding the uneducated son of a commoner, whose body was supposed to be found 3 days later, but would now be found tomorrow. Meanwhile, Caserty, looking concerned, asked George if the Lord was really going to do nothing, or if there was any chance of intervention. George replied with a sigh, confirming that only the Lord's will mattered, and that if they thought about it, the situation was obviously being manipulated by someone. He and Caserty stand ready, facing a monstrous creature with glowing red eyes, as she exclaims that there's no way they can bring the body along to fight after all. The real problem, Aaron muses, is the possibility of a dark mage orchestrating events from behind the scenes. His gaze sharpens. As he considers the implications, the Lord's cleanup operation might just be a ruse to lure out the fortress's guarding troops. He concludes that the abbot's involvement in the funeral was likely a distraction, allowing the dark mage to operate freely. Meanwhile, Abbot Brighton stands in quiet contemplation, a hand pressed to his chin. Aaron's thoughts continue, realizing that regardless of whether a dark mage is truly involved, The troops of Caserta Fortress will inevitably be withdrawn due to the ongoing cleanup in surrounding areas. George, seated at his desk, laments that they can't just ignore the situation. With the main forces dispatched, the fortress now stands eerily quiet, its vast halls feeling empty. As a result of the strategic shift, the sounds of departure echo through the stone, a heavy thud marking each step. The last of the troops move out, their cloaks swishing as they leave the fortress vulnerable. Meanwhile, deep within the inner defenses, a lone knight stands ready, his glowing blade a beacon against the encroaching silence. Outside, the order is clear. Knights on horseback charge forth, determined to eliminate the monster threat. Back inside, Aaron stands in quiet contemplation, the weight of the fortress's vulnerability heavy on his mind. Within the inner fortress, Caserta finds solace and protection with her knight, a bond of loyalty evident between them. As for the outer fortress's defense, the support of the Inquisitor has been added to bolster their ranks. Aaron stands with an aid from the Inquisitor's forces, his expression stern as he assesses the new arrangements. A blur of motion signals a shift in focus. As an older man reads aloud to a younger companion, his voice calm and measured, since it must be difficult to read the text while you are being in position for the cleanup, I will read aloud for you. In the beginning, the sun. But elsewhere, a dismissive scoff escapes Aaron's lips, his expression stern as he declares, we don't need you. Under the pale glow of a full moon, the ancient fortress stands silhouetted against the night sky, its formidable walls now a target. A figure with long, vibrant red hair watches the fortress intently, a soft glow emanating from their eyes as they inquire, how is the progress? With a confident smirk, the red-haired leader confirms, yes. The Crimson Darkness and Harvester has already entered the fortress. The leader's satisfaction is palpable as they add, the troops coming out of the castle were distracted away by monsters, and we're moving as fast as possible. A pleased nice follows. A masked figure, a subordinate, chimes in. It was worth considering distracting the goblins and orcs stationed here. But another hooded figure expresses a hint of apprehension. Is it okay to make a move this big? Even though this is a fortress for the Empire. A confident smirk plays on the red-haired leader's lips as she dismisses any minor setbacks, assuring her subordinates not to worry about the little things. For once the master consumes the heart of the fortress, empowered by mana, there will be no need to tolerate hypocrites anymore. Meanwhile, a dark figure, eyes glowing with an eerie purple light, vows he will not fail like that stupid guy over Seedle. The red-haired leader, her own eyes now glowing with a fierce amber light, reaffirms her conviction that everything will proceed according to the TS plan. Another hooded subordinate, less confident, voices a cautious thought, believing they just need to be careful. A hand gestures, emphasizing the critical importance of mana, for without it, life itself is impossible. A guttural roar echoes through the chamber. As the red-haired leader stands before a grotesque, multi-eyed creature, its monstrous form reflecting in her calm gaze. The creature's presence is palpable, its immense power radiating through the space. She listens as her hooded subordinate expresses concern, wondering if this is the troubled one they've been warned about. He continues, explaining that despite securing the frontiers, they lack the mana to open the fortress gates with their current power, the massive structure looming before them. A monstrous, multi-eyed creature, its form writhing with dark energy, is the key, for once its accumulated mana is released, it will be able to open the inner fortress gate. Her amber eyes glow with fierce resolve as she utters a single, chilling word, Hunter. A smirk plays on her lips, her confidence unwavering. She declares their intent to breach the defenses, proclaiming they will open the fortress gates with overwhelming force. The subordinate, still hesitant, mentions the Imperial Hunter might be delayed, to which she replies, he seems to have lost his way, huh? He then suggests they shouldn't let the knights attack the gates, the dense forest surrounding them a silent witness. Her eyes glow once more, a clear sign of her unwavering will, as she dismisses his concerns, declaring, whatever, we're going first. Her amber eyes gleaming with fierce resolve, the red-haired leader issues a final command, demanding everyone prepare and unleash all the monsters they've brought. Responding to her call, a massive, multi-eyed creature begins to tear through the fortress wall, its purple aura radiating with destructive power as it forces its way out. Its monstrous hand emerging fully from the crumbling stone. With the creature now unleashed, the leader's voice echoes once more, commanding it to plant terror within the inner fortress. The monster lets out a guttural roar, its many glowing eyes fixed on its target. Its massive, grotesque form shudders with anticipation. A blur of purple energy trailing its rapidly moving hand as it prepares to strike. Meanwhile, high above the chaos, a lone, cloaked figure stands silhouetted against the full moon, observing the unfolding invasion with an unreadable gaze. As the invasion began, a massive surge of dark purple energy slammed into the fortress walls, tearing through the stone with devastating force. However, a brilliant red counterblast erupted from within the defenses, meeting the attack head-on in a blinding explosion of light. Despite the resistance, the purple energy attack continued its relentless assault, overwhelming the defenses and causing further destruction. Watching the spectacle, the red-haired leader and her subordinate reacted with wide-eyed shock, a gasp escaping her lips as the battle intensified. A collective question hung in the air, reflecting the general bewilderment at the sheer power displayed. Meanwhile, Eren lunged forward, his eyes glowing crimson and a powerful red aura flaring around him, his form blurring with incredible speed. His extended arm crackled with raw red energy, ready to unleash a devastating strike. He reflected on his decision, thinking he had been wondering what he would do if they didn't come. With fierce determination etched across his face, his red glowing eyes fixed on his target, Eren prepared to enter the fray. His eyes burning with a fierce red glow, Eren unleashes a powerful, crimson aura, his voice thundering with raw fury as he challenges the unseen enemy. You demon bastards. Just before Caserte's fortress was attacked, a chilling thought lingered in the air. A figure with light blue hair mused that the setting sun did not signify an end to the threat. Even in the deepest night, the unseen enemy persisted, a gurgling sound echoing faintly. Meanwhile, before the chaos, Eren stood vigilant on the fortress walls, a similar unsettling sound reaching his ears. Now, with his face bruised and battered, he found himself trapped in a living nightmare, the torment almost unbearable. He desperately wished for any distraction, even a demon's appearance, anything to free him from this agonizing stasis. Under the cold gaze of the full moon, he stared out into the desolate night. His expression remained etched with pain and exhaustion, until his eyes caught sight of something in the distance, a monstrous form emerging from the shadows. A monstrous, purple claw, crackling with dark energy, tears through the air. Its gaping maw, lined with razor-sharp teeth, lunges forward. The sight of it makes Eren's face contort in a grimace, the situation clearly dire. As he can only think one thing, it's a demon. But then, a new figure appears, a man with long dark hair and eyes that glow in intense, menacing red, a chilling smile spreading across his face. Another demon has arrived. A tense silence hangs in the air. Suddenly, the monstrous entity from before is violently struck, purple blood splattering. As the attack continues, tearing into its flesh with brutal force. The red-eyed demon continues its relentless assault, a blur of motion as it tears into the monstrous entity, sending sprays of blood across the chaotic scene. Each strike lands with brutal force, the impact echoing through the darkness. From a distance, Eren watches, his mind reeling at the sight. What kind of monster is this, fighting like a knight? He notes the demon's chilling efficiency, but finds himself confused by the absence of any discernible aura. The demon's movements are unerringly precise, each blow aimed directly at the monstrous entity's joints. Elsewhere, a red-haired woman with a fierce gaze observes the unfolding chaos, a subtle glow emanating from her form. Eren continues to process the scene, marveling at the demon's ability to land such accurate strikes in the midst of such a wild battle. His eyes remain fixed on the brutal exchange, the monstrous entity struggling against its relentless attacker. With another devastating blow, the red-eyed demon's clawed hand rips through its foe, splattering more blood. His brutal assault continues, the monstrous entity's maw already torn and bleeding from the previous blows. Another swift impact sends a spray of crimson across the air, his hand a blur of motion. The creature lets out a pained shriek, its massive form recoiling violently from the force. He launches himself forward once more, delivering another precise strike as he muses. They even drew dotted lines for me to cut. Now atop the struggling beast, he continues his relentless assault. Blood splatters across his face, but his gaze remains sharp, unwavering. With a final, decisive movement, his blood-soaked hand grips its target, a single word escaping his lips, bring. A deafening impact echoes, sealing the creature's fate. He stands victorious over the now motionless form, the monstrous threat finally neutralized. He stands firm, his gaze unwavering as he prepares for the next assault. But a sudden, brutal impact sends blood spraying, blue energy erupting around him. Leaving his face streaked with crimson, yet his resolve remains unbroken. He mutters, wondering how such a creature could have been so easily defeated. As he stands beside a cloaked figure, his thoughts turn to the true strength required to fight demons, when a colossal, shadowy form begins to materialize in the distance. Its glowing red eyes pierce the darkness, and a guttural roar escapes its fanged maw, revealing the full, monstrous scale of the creature, wreathed in a dark, crackling aura. Eren's eyes widen in disbelief, realizing the true nature of the threat before him, as he curses the sheer audacity of the creature. With a furious cry, he extends his hand, declaring his intention to abandon all previous plans and destroy them all. He looks down, a grimace tightening his features, as a faint glow emanates from his raised arm. But before he can fully react, a brutal impact sends a spray of blood across the scene, the crimson liquid coating a sharp blade. His eyes widen in shock, a single word escaping his lips, huh? From a distance, the red-haired leader watches, her face contorted in disbelief. Another powerful blow lands, erupting with blue energy and more blood, throwing Eren's head back as the force of the attack continues to batter him, the bloodied weapon tearing through the air with devastating speed. He struggles to remain conscious, his face and armor bloodied from the sudden, brutal assault. A sharp, sickening sound accompanies the sight of his arm, still bleeding profusely from a deep wound. Meanwhile, the hooded assailant, their eyes glowing with malevolent intent, reveals a chilling, triumphant grin. Clutching his wounded side, Aaron's damaged armor offers little comfort as blood continues to stain his garments. Despite the pain, his gaze sharpens, a resolute glint in his eye as he commands himself to hold on a second. He acknowledges the attacker's skill in manipulation, but dismisses their combat ability, noting their mana is too low to fight a knight. His strategic mind takes over, realizing, we need to hear their plan and find out what they're thinking of doing. He grapples with a moral dilemma, knowing that conversing with a demon is a sin. Yet, he steels himself, justifying the controversial choice as a necessary step to prevent any unexpected casualties. He looks up at the hooded figure, his own bloodied hand a stark reminder of his wounds. The figure, defiant, declares himself not a demon, but a dark mage, refusing to be lumped in with stupid demon puppets. Before he can finish, Aaron, with a surge of adrenaline, lunges forward, his blade flashing. The attack connects with brutal force, sending a spray of blood and blue energy outward. Aaron, his face contorted in a bloody snarl, demands a name. The hooded figure, now revealed to be a young man, gasps out, "Piperon." Aaron, his frustration boiling over, questions why demons keep attacking them out of nowhere, demanding an explanation. He grips Pero by the neck, lifting him effortlessly as the young mage struggles to speak. Suddenly, Pero's eyes glow with an ominous purple light, and dark magical energy crackles around him. This plan, which could only be achieved by those who had eaten the heart of mana, had been in motion for days, a scheme that would allow one to reach the apex of a mage. And now, the inner fortress was undoubtedly in total chaos, as the bald man's worried expression confirmed. Meanwhile, a voice pleaded, "I told you everything, so please spare me." As Pero's purple magic flared, Aaron moved with brutal efficiency, his fist connecting with the dark mage's face. The impact sent Pero reeling, blood splattering as he absorbed the full force of the blow. Aaron followed up instantly, delivering another powerful strike that drove his opponent further back. Looking down at the subdued figure, Aaron mused, "The inner fortress. Huh." Elsewhere, a knight asked, "Did you hear?" He continued, "I definitely let my guard down like last time, but I'm not so weak that I can't handle a knight." He lets out a confident chuckle, his words echoing with a sense of self-assurance. Yet, a flicker of doubt crosses his mind as he considers the sheer scale of the situation. Meanwhile, the chaos rages on, and Aaron, bloodied but resolute, reflects on the knight's previous encounter, understanding the gravity of the current predicament. He gazes out at the besieged inner fortress, knowing that Nova should have had her own plans, but the suddenness of the attack has overwhelmed everything. Amidst the swirling magical particles and the clash of steel, a voice cuts through the din, demanding attention. Back in his own space, the knight's voice rings out, urgent and clear, trying to reach someone through the turmoil. Aaron, his face grim and determined, responds instantly, ready to join the fray. He looks up, a prayer forming on his lips, acknowledging the desperate situation. The true cost of the conflict is laid bare, as two young figures, injured and terrified, bear witness to the unfolding tragedy. As the inner fortress faces imminent danger, a knight in blue armor and his companion rush through the glowing, ethereal landscape. Their heavy footsteps echoing with a metallic clatter as they close in on their destination. Meanwhile, the target of their desperate sprint, the formidable Bear Gate, stands as the last bastion of the inner fortress. From another direction, a different group approaches, with the red-eyed demon among them, casually stretching as they near the gate. One of their leaders, a man with light brown hair, addresses his companions, asking if this is indeed Caserte's fortress. His question is met with the stern, unyielding gaze of a heavily bearded guard, standing resolute at the gate. The guard's hand instinctively tightens around the hilt of his weapon, a silent warning. Undeterred, the interrogator challenges the guard, demanding to know who he is before offering any information. The red-eyed demon, witnessing this standoff, reacts with a sudden, wide-eyed shock. A young man with vibrant red hair confirms their location, declaring, "Yes, this is Caserte, the fortress located at the far side of the continent, well known for its crystal-clear water and fresh air." From the gate, a heavily armored, bearded guard offers a chilling welcome. "Welcome, please head right on in." The red-haired antagonist's expression darkens as he senses something unsettling. "I can feel it." His eyes widening with a grim realization of the dangerous stench of death. Nearby, Char red-eyed demon's face is etched with a profound, almost pained intensity, his glowing crimson eyes burning with an unspoken emotion. The red-haired antagonist stands amidst a swirling crimson glow, his back to the viewer as he stares towards the ominous fortress. The bearded guard, observing the group's reactions, mutters thoughtfully, "Maybe, even more than the captain." His gaze is sharp, his expression hardened by years of vigilance, a silent challenge in his eyes. The red-haired antagonist recoils in shock, his face contorted in disbelief as he vehemently denies, "Sir, no." Still reeling from the guard's provocative words, the red-haired antagonist drops into a defensive crouch, his axe flaring with a vibrant purple glow, ready for whatever comes next. Meanwhile, the red-eyed demon, seemingly unconcerned by the rising tension, offers a calm, almost dismissive, "I see. Have a good night." As a low hum emanates from his form, the hooded subordinate turns his back on the fortress, walking away from the brewing conflict. Suddenly, a violent crushing sound echoes, and the red-haired antagonist looks up, his expression shifting to one of shock. From within the fortress, a knight shouts a desperate warning, his voice strained as he calls out, "Captain!" A massive surge of dark purple energy erupts from nowhere, swirling with ominous power and glowing particles. The dark magic intensifies, its chaotic currents accompanied by a sudden cry of alarm. The red-eyed demon looks down, his glowing crimson eyes narrowed, demanding to know, "What's going on? Where did these damn dark mages show up?" Captain Aaron, already drawing his sword, echoes the demon's question. "Did those damn dark mages show up?" Amidst the chaos of the magical ambush, Knight Ben rushes through the crumbling fortress, his voice cutting through the din as he calls out, "My lady, it's Knight Ben, are you safe?" Huddled against a debris-strewn wall, the lady looks up, her face etched with fear. He reaches her, pulling her into a protective embrace, as she cries out, "Sir Ben." Her voice trembling with relief and lingering terror, she confesses, "I was so scared." "It's all right." Ben gently cups her face, his gaze firm and reassuring. "You're safe now that I'm here." With a renewed sense of urgency, he pulls her close, urging, "Let's get out of here quick." Before they can move, a sudden, unseen force slams into his back, a burst of red energy erupting on impact. Another powerful blow follows instantly, sending shockwaves of pain through the night. The unseen magical attacks continue to batter the knight, a fresh impact sending a spray of blood from his shoulder. Despite the pain, his eyes widen in horror as he cries out, "My lady?" Before him, the lady stands, her once gentle features twisted into a feral snarl, eyes glowing a malevolent red, and bloodied claws extending from her hands, her dress tattered and stained. Aaron looks up, his voice filled with concern as he calls out to the lady. But her response is chilling, a cold denial of his words, followed by a question that confirms the presence of a demon. A sinister smirk plays on her lips, her eyes glowing with an unnatural yellow light as she declares that all men are the same. Another voice joins in the taunt, mocking how easily men lose their composure when a beautiful woman approaches. The red-haired leader's face is splattered with blood, a testament to the violence she embraces. Her allegiance is revealed, a member of the shadowy society Crimson Darkness. Another red-haired figure, an antagonist, steps forward, declaring his personal preference for this chaotic display. The knight of the inner fortress watches, his expression a mixture of shock and disbelief. Aaron, defeated, looks down in shame, lamenting his failure to keep his guard up, feeling utterly pathetic. The knight stands ready, green light emanating from his eyes and sword, a determined expression on his face, knowing what Aaron would say. But he can't, as he recalls the image of a defeated, bandaged Aaron and remembers his own past weakness. His eyes blaze with renewed intensity, vowing that he absolutely won't fail this time. The blade in his hand pulses with vibrant green energy. With a fierce cry of "never," he lunges forward. But a sudden, unseen force slams into him. The impact sends him spinning, a chaotic burst of red and black energy engulfing him. He lets out a pained grunt as the blow takes its toll. He's gone, the red-haired antagonist thinks, his mind racing with questions about the knight's sudden disappearance and the hypocrisy of his actions. Meanwhile, the knight, his eyes now glowing with an intense green light and his sword radiating a similar emerald aura, knows that if it weren't for his powers, this situation would be far more dire. A surge of confidence washes over him, believing he could take down his opponent in one swift move. With that resolve, he launches himself forward, a blinding green flash erupting as his attack connects, shattering everything in its path. His momentum carries him through the debris, leaving the red-haired antagonist reeling from the impact, a pained curse escaping his lips. The knight, his eyes still blazing, presses his advantage, closing in for the decisive blow. A final, overwhelming burst of green energy erupts, engulfing his foe in a devastating explosion. As the dust settles, the knight declares, "This is the end." The knight's powerful attack culminates in a blinding explosion of energy, sending the red-haired antagonist reeling back, clutching his chest in agony. His eyes widen in shock and pain, the force of the blow overwhelming him completely. As the knight stands victorious over his fallen foe, the red-haired antagonist lies defeated on the ground. The knight takes a step back, leaving the antagonist to his pain. But from the ground, a desperate cry escapes the antagonist's lips, a single name echoing through the air, "Harton." As if summoned, a hand emerges from the shadows, identified as a member of the society, and crimson darkness swirls around it. The red-haired antagonist, still on the ground, can only utter a frustrated, "Damn it." The sudden appearance of this new power confirms the chilling realization. There was indeed another demon, and this was a close call with crimson darkness. Harton, cloaked in shadow, unleashes a torrent of dark crimson energy, the raw power radiating from his hand as he declares this the consequence of fighting alone. The devastating impact rips through the air, shattering the very ground, and sending debris flying in every direction. A deafening roar of destruction echoes as the structure around them crumbles, leaving the knight to reflect on his momentary triumph, thinking, I actually had him this time. But the force of Harton's attack sends him hurtling through the air, a helpless figure amidst the swirling dust and debris. As the knight falls, he laments, I was about to win, while the red-haired antagonist, enraged by the interruption, demands of Harton, why did you blow him away? I wanted to tear him limb from limb. The hooded subordinate, observing the chaos, tries to interject, stop it, you're wasting time, only to be met with a sharp, shut up. The red-haired antagonist's face contorts with fury, her resolve hardening as she vows, I'm not leaving until I've crushed that guy. The hooded subordinate sighs, a hint of exasperation in his expression, as he mutters, if you keep acting as you please. The hooded subordinate, his face obscured by shadow, warns that their master will be furious. He continues, trying to temper the red-haired leader's volatile nature, explaining that even without the knight, the fortress won't be easy to breach. The red-haired leader listens, her expression a mix of frustration and simmering anger. As the hooded subordinate suggests, he'll slip away while she creates a distraction. Her eyes narrow, a dangerous glint within them. As she declares, she'll bring back the head of the one who is closest to the master. Later, under the cloak of night, the imposing fortress stands silent, its towers piercing the dark sky. Nearby, the red-eyed demon, his crimson gaze intense, stands beside the red-haired antagonist, who suggests it would be better to check someone. The demon's glowing red eyes reflect a chilling determination, his expression grim. He moves through the desolate, shadowed streets, a single exclamation escaping his lips as he surveys the quiet surroundings. His dark cloak billows softly behind him, a lone figure against the backdrop of the silent, imposing structures. As he turns, his eyes glow with an ominous red light, piercing the darkness with an unsettling intensity. He spots a man with a distinctive beard and long hair, standing nearby, seemingly on guard. The cloaked figure approaches. And the bearded man, Aaron, looks up, a question forming on his lips. Is that Aaron's mark made, ally? Aaron's expression is one of cautious inquiry, his gaze fixed on the newcomer. As the cloaked figure stands before him, Aaron speaks again. Excuse me, sir. Can I ask you something? The red-eyed demon responds, his glowing gaze unwavering as he poses his own question. Do you know the way to Kasserti Fortress? He feigns confusion, claiming to have lost his way. The guard captain, Aaron, turns to him, wondering if he truly can't find the fortress, a place so prominent. He questions internally if the man is joking, or if his sense of direction is truly that poor. A smirk plays on the demon's lips, confirming his terrible sense of direction, a convenient excuse for his presence. Aaron, now fully facing him, exclaims, offering assistance and explaining that Kasserti is so vast that many people often lose their way, making it a common occurrence. He elaborates, stating that the place is far too winding, and it's only natural not to find the fortress easily. With a confident thumbs up, Aaron assures him that the layout of Kasserti Fortress is uniquely different from other places, requiring specific knowledge. The former lord, who once resided in the original Kasserti Fortress, was so grand that he constructed a new one outside, which is why this fortress isn't marked on the official map of Kasserti. To find the Kasserti Fortress that isn't in Kasserti, one must simply exit the main gate and continue straight, where a huge fortress will eventually appear. He addresses the guard captain, his voice carrying a subtle, probing tone. Aaron, still relieved by the demon's apparent kindness, expresses his sincere gratitude, unaware of the true nature of his companion, confessing that he would have been in serious trouble without the demon's timely assistance. The demon then shifts the conversation, casually inquiring if Aaron is a knight. Aaron quickly dismisses the idea, shaking his head. He clarifies his position, stating he is merely a lowly guard captain. The demon nods, a faint smile playing on his lips, remarking that it's a relief, as a kind person like Aaron couldn't possibly be a knight. With his objective achieved, the demon turns to leave, bidding Aaron a good night under the full moon. His silhouette recedes into the distance, leaving the guard captain behind. Aaron stands with a younger, red-haired man, a slight smile playing on his lips as he declares his intention to handle any remaining threats himself. Suddenly, the younger man cries out, his voice filled with urgency. He gestures wildly, exclaiming that a truly massive problem has arisen. Aaron, however, remains unfazed, calmly stating that he has already dealt with the issue, which involved a large individual entering the fortress, possibly the one who escaped previously. The younger man's eyes widen in disbelief, impressed by his big brother's swift action. Aaron, his scarred face set, cuts off further discussion with a firm enough. The red-haired man looks distraught, lamenting that the knights of the inner fortress might have gotten away. Despite his distress, he quickly resolves, declaring his unwavering loyalty and readiness to follow Aaron anywhere. He stands over the grotesque form of a defeated creature, its dark mass sprawled on the ground, as the red-haired man beside him lets out a relieved breath, declaring he's not going to hell. The creature's body, a twisted heap of dark flesh, reveals a single, malevolent eye in its monstrous face, prompting the red-haired man to wonder if this thing was even human, questioning if he'd seen its like before. Turning to Aaron, the younger man points out that he'd spoken his thoughts aloud, addressing him as Big Brother. Eren, deep in thought, decides he can't simply abandon the creature's body here, instructing his companion to stay and keep watch over it. With that, he turns and begins to walk away, leaving the red-haired man stunned by his decision to handle it himself. A sudden impact echoes as he moves, his determined stride carrying him swiftly into the distance. As Eren continues his swift movement, a younger companion, his dark hair falling over his brow, questions if this is the correct path. Eren, observing the surroundings, instructs him that the creatures are indeed kind, adding, "Count any of their locations and report to me if you find them." The companion looks down, his expression thoughtful. Before voicing his concern, "Did a demon pass through here?" Eren surveys the scene, the destruction evident, confirming, it's a complete mess. They move through a grand, ornate hall, its silence broken only by their footsteps, until the companion spots a critical juncture, a fork in the road. Eren turns his gaze towards the companion, a silent command passing between them. And then, with renewed urgency, he sprints forward, leaving the companion to follow. Eren continues his urgent sprint, his boots pounding against the ground. He glances back, maintaining his rapid pace, a sense of unease growing with each step. Suddenly, a terrified scream rips through the air, and Eren's eyes widen in alarm. He changes direction instantly, his legs churning faster. The lady, her blonde hair streaming behind her, flees in sheer terror, her gaze fixed on something unseen behind her. Eren reaches her, grabbing her arm and pulling her along, as she gasps, "I barely managed to escape, but they're chasing me. There are demons over there." His expression hardens, a grim resolve settling over his features. Red slashes of energy tear through the air, striking the lady with brutal force, who lets out a sharp cry of pain and terror. Dark particles erupt around her as the impact sends her reeling, her hand reaching out desperately into the chaos, her face contorted in sheer, unadulterated fear, as she cries out, questioning the sudden, brutal assault. Eren, witnessing the attack, considers his own actions, realizing that sometimes, it's simply instinct that drives him. His expression hardens with grim resolve, though he can't help but notice the young woman's close proximity, finding it a bit strange despite the urgency of their situation. The red-eyed demon's face contorts in a snarl, his glowing crimson eyes burning with fury, unable to comprehend such defiance. A dark, swirling aura of red energy begins to emanate from him, as he vows to tear every single one of them apart. His voice echoing with murderous intent, he repeats his chilling promise of destruction. But a determined soldier, aiming his firearm directly at the demon, simply tells him to eat it. In response, the demon's massive, crimson eye flares with an intense, pulsing glow, the raw power emanating from it almost palpable, as the center of its demonic lens turns a deeper, more ominous red, focusing its destructive will. With a final, chilling command, the demon orders its opponent to eat this thing you call fear.